There might come a day when you get the unnerving realization that these companies won't leave you alone, even if you say no. Hi, my name is Philippa, and today we're going to be going down a rabbit hole from something that happened to me with my email and down to how I feel like there's a fever that's taken over all of us as a population in general. I have my notes here on a napkin, so let's go. To tell this story well, I feel like I have to start from November of 2025, I believe. I bought skincare from a Korean brand, right? And so, you put in your email so they can send you your receipt and everything that comes with it. This is not like some shady business. This is a really well-known website, but it was the first time that I was purchasing anything from them. And it's normal to get marketing emails and just spam emails from them in general. So when I started getting those, I felt like, oh, this is relatively normal. But then it got annoying and I wanted it to stop. So I unsubscribed from their email list. But the email came back. So I unsubscribed again. But the emails came back. And then it was like at some point I was trying to ask myself, like, am I like making this up in my mind? I think I already unsubscribed from this email list. So why exactly am I still seeing these emails? And I think that was when I took notice of it. And I purposely made sure that I was completely aware of what I was doing and not just kind of absent minded when I unsubscribed again. Lo and behold, another email came in a couple of days later. And I feel like that was when I started keeping tabs of how many emails I got from them. They were always sending me emails to basically just ask me to rate the skincare that I bought or some other something or some other or just something else. They always had something for me to do, which got me thinking like anybody would find it abnormal if somebody who you've met, not to talk of a company in general, was sending you a message on WhatsApp, and even after you said stop, I don't want to use this, or I don't want to get messages from you, they keep sending you messages, or like you've blocked them, but they somehow find your number again and keep sending you messages. And that's the same feeling. We would consider that stalking. But for some reason, we don't see it in the same light when our emails are used as such. And it has got me thinking about how we've come to assume that companies spamming us with so much emails is commonplace. And I understand that when you share your data, which is basically your email, is kind of like your contact detail, like your phone number with a company, you're basically giving them the right to keep in touch with you. But that's also the reason why you have something called an unsubscribe button or like a block button on Gmail, which is basically if you don't want to get more information or any news from them, you can use this. However, I feel like most people have come to realize that these unsubscribe buttons nowadays are just theater. They really have no use. They're just there to make you feel like, oh yes, I unsubscribed, and perhaps they'll stay away for a couple of weeks and then they come back. Likewise, I feel like when you give your email to these companies, they don't just put you on one mailing list, which is kind of like doing it in a backhanded way, the black market form of way. They put you on different lists. And so even if you unsubscribe from one list, you're not really completely free of them because they just find a way to come back. And then there's an imbalance in the grab for your attention. They basically have teams and people trying to grab your attention, trying to make sure that they're always mailing you, kind of like the phone calls that they do at customers. No, not customer service, what they call it. I find it completely absurd that something like this is happening, and I've been so insensitized to it. I felt like it was something normal because by the time I realized what this particular company was doing, I started thinking back to other companies and other brands that have been doing the same thing, where I would unsubscribe from their mailing list, but I would somehow still find myself on the mailing list even after I unsubscribed from it. Luckily, I did use an alias. You can find some services online. An alias is basically a different email that you can give to a company or like a brand or to open an account, and then the emails to that account get mailed directly to another private email. And that means you can delete this alias at any point in time when you feel like I have no use for it again, but your main email is still safe. Moving on from my grievances, as that is not the main story of today, it just got me thinking because I feel like I went into a rabbit hole thinking about this, that there is a comment that I heard someone make one time when they said we have stopped being customers and now we are consumers. A customer is basically someone who has agency. They go to these businesses, they have rights, they have opinions, and their opinions matter. Meanwhile, a consumer is someone who just basically consumes. It's kind of biological in a sense of the way if you're a consumer, it's not something you can fight, you just need to consume. And I feel like that's the difference now between when some of these companies might have started out innocently, that they saw you as customers, oh, this is someone who could like my product, this is someone that my product could help. And it gets to a point where the line gets completely scraped out and the whole idea of a customer is thrown out the window and you just become a consumer. I need people who would consume this product. I need people who would come back and get more. I need people who are gluttonous for my product. And if they are not, I will make them so. I will keep spamming them. I will keep putting myself in front of them because I feel like there are like 10,000 or a million other businesses trying to do it. But then I feel like something that these brands don't think about is if there are 10,000 other businesses trying to grab my attention and all of them are spamming me with multiple emails in a week, in a day, and you are also one of them, how do you think that would make one person feel? Like, it definitely would not grab my attention in a nice way personally. Likewise, there was a comment that was also made that brands are now behaving like people and people are behaving like brands, which you can see on social media. You see lots of brands commenting on other people's videos, like saying something funny, getting people to laugh and make you feel like a whole company and a whole conglomerate is a person with an identity, which creates a sort of parasocial relationship between the brands and then anybody who begins to see them as not just a conglomerate with thousands of employees under them, but as an image and as identity, basically as a mascot. Meanwhile, people are out there on social media trying to make themselves brands. And I'm not saying this as I'm holier than thou or like I'm out of this field. I am in the field. I'm also here making a video and you're watching the video right now. What I'm trying to say is that the difference between human and business is getting blurred because the businesses are trying to make themselves as relatable as ever to get themselves in front of you, which boils down to marketing again. Same thing as the emails. Anything and every single thing that they can do to make you remember them, to put you in, to put themselves at the forefront of your mind. They are doing everything and everything to get your attention nowadays. And I feel like we have to be wise about how we think about these things, and we shouldn't really just take things as commonplace happenings or situations and feel like, oh, this is common. It's, it's normal. History has learned and showed us that some things that we find are normal are actually, in retrospect and perhaps in the future when you look back at it, really problematic. Bringing it back down to a book that I've been reading, Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds, I feel like this also boils down to it. There is a bubble that we're going through right now, just like the dot-com bubble and different financial bubbles that have happened. And I feel like it's a fever dream. It's happening with social media in general. People and everybody, myself included, has started rushing towards being a content creator. Both those who have something to say and those who really don't have anything to say. And once again, I'm trying to say this with utter practicality and just being really logical about this and how I see it. I feel like everybody wants to do it and not everybody has a reason for the reason why they want to do it and why they want to be there. And then some people are doing it because they feel the pressure that they need to be there. It's like something is happening. There's a gold mine and everybody wants to be there. They want to make sure that they get something out of it. But then we don't realize that this bubble is going to burst at some point. I don't know how long it's going to be active. I don't know, maybe in 30 years we wouldn't even have TikTok. I remember growing up and we had something like To Go. I don't even know where it is today. So just thinking about it, I'm like, the decisions that we're making nowadays and how it's affecting our lives as human beings and as people in general could have a really bad snowball effect into our future. Meanwhile, as brands, the way they have begun to behave has pushed from just being businesses who are looking for profit, because that's a business. Business needs profit, to being, I would say, unethical underhandedness with the way they deal with people, which they don't see us as people again. They don't see us as customers. They basically just see us as a metric, a number in a data spreadsheet, a number that needs to be on their side. And if it's not on their side, they're going to do every single thing that they can to bring you to their side. Everything has become transactional and everything has become quick and nobody wants to hear no. And a lot of people are talking and there's just honestly too much noise and it gives me fatigue thinking about it, scrolling on social media, or likewise just having my emails spammed daily. I'm telling you, the amount of times I have to look, I get so much notifications in my inbox thinking like, oh, I have an email from someone important, and I open it and it's just random emails from different brands, and I'm looking through like a list of 10 new emails I got in the morning, and I'm like, but none of them are actually important. Like none of them are worth being, having me sit down in the morning and try to get my inbox arranged or sorted out. This email situation is a microcosm and it's really just a small part to a bigger issue that we're facing today. And I feel like a lot of them are really intertwined or like connected to each other in one way or the other. But the total line, I believe, is that things are getting out of hand and we're currently in a bubble, and I don't know how long this bubble is going to last, but it's going to burst at some point. And I just feel like the way we act and the way we behave towards certain things should be in line with our values, should be in line with the way we want to look back at ourselves in retrospect. And I'm saying this to us as people, to myself, and also to the brands out there. Please don't spam people. Please do things ethically. Please, if you have an unsubscribe button which says unsubscribe, be literally true to your word there. Okay, don't use underhanded methods. It just makes me lose absolute any single respect I might have had for you. It makes me also not want to buy any product from you. It makes me not want to be affiliated with anybody who's affiliated with you. And likewise, I'm not going to be calling any names in this video just because I don't believe it's necessary to put someone in the spotlight or a business in the spotlight at this point in time and just let people go after them with a touch. Coming back down to the point that I wanted to make with this video, I've been thinking of talking about this for a while now because it was just on my mind and I thought it was totally absurd that I had been thinking of such an activity or such an occurrence as something absolutely normal. But when I put it in context with the WhatsApp situation, I was like, this basically is stalking at this point. This basically is you saying no to a guy and he doesn't listen to you, or a girl, depending. This basically is someone not respecting your boundaries. And I feel like, just like I said, they don't think we have boundaries. They don't see us as people. They just see us as numbers on a spreadsheet, which is also pointing back to the fact that everybody is trying to grab your attention, both people and both brands, which also leads back to the fact of social media, which also leads back to the fact of the popularity of social media and being a content creator at this point, which also leads back to the fact of there is a certain madness that has taken over the general population at this stage, which brings me back to myself at this point. I'm thinking, how, as someone who also is trying to do this social media thing, how do I want to live? How do I want to position myself? I really just want to be true to myself. And if this works out, and if, I get opportunities from it, and if, I meet really great people, and if, I build a really good community out of this, that would be absolutely wonderful. If this doesn't work out, I don't want that to be the end of my life. I don't want it to be that I have put in everything or invested everything into a financial, in quotes, example, bubble, so to say, that will at the end of the day drop. I also don't want it to be that I've been untrue to myself, and when I look back to these things later on, I would ask myself, is this really you? Did you really behave like this? This is really not the type of person that you are on a normal day. Hopefully I didn't sound low and mighty talking about this. I just, it just really came to my mind, like I said before, and it felt completely weird that I had been thinking about it all this while as normal that you would tell a business, no, stop this, multiple times, by the way, but they keep sending you messages like they don't really care about what you're saying. Also, last tip of the day, you should use aliases, okay? I said I wasn't going to recommend one, but I'll just say it. I use Proton email, Proton Pass, so you can create aliases with this. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the alias email that I used to purchase from this business, which would basically just cut them off completely, because I see no other choice or no other option for me at this point. I've already told them no, I've unsubscribed, but they keep coming back, so there's nothing else to do than to really cut them off. And this would have been a really huge problem for me if I had used my personal emails connected to my school or my work. I wouldn't be able to simply just delete the email, so I would have to keep dealing with them or just block them. Anyway, I hope, let me see. Well, I hope this topic has inspired you in a way or another to take your life actively or to do something that you've been keeping on the back burner for a while. If you like this type of content, or if you just like me personally, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also follow. Now, do you follow on YouTube? I don't believe so. Don't forget to subscribe. It will really help the channel since I'm just starting out. And see you next time when something else happens.